Hi, so in this video, we're going to go over the string class. So every string that you have in a Java program is actually an object, which means that it has methods that we can use. So in the AP CSA quick reference that you get on the exam, the Java quick reference, it goes through all of the different methods on the string class, on the string object that you might need to know about. So those are length, substring, index of, equals, compared to, and split. And we will go through all of those pretty quickly in this video, and we will go through a couple of code examples in our pick code IDE here, and then we will call it quits. So let's get started. So the length of a string is the number of letters or the number of characters in the string. So apple. What I like to say is count the number of letters with your fingers, because we're going to get into some stuff with other numbering systems and stuff like that in a second, which confuses people. But how many letters are there in the word apple? There's A, P, P, L, E. There are 5 letters, 5 characters is the fancy word for it, but 5 letters in the string apple. So that means that the length of apple is 5. And we can copy paste this code and throw it into the editor, into the IDE here. And we will press play and we will get that the answer is in fact 5. Okay. So that's that. So just count the number of letters. Okay. So substrings are where it gets a little bit more confusing and where we have to start thinking about this vocab word index. So I'm going to zoom in to the string apple here. So indexes are the numbers for the positions of each of the letters in a string, or in Java, there's all sorts of stuff that have indexes. But for right now, let's deal with characters or letters in a string. So it starts at 0. So A is at index 0. P, the first one, is at index 1. P, the second one, is at index 2. L, the first L, is at index 3, and E is at index 4. So what gets people confused with indexes and length and all of that is that, the final index of the final letter is 4, where the length is 5. So people will think that the length is 4. That's not true. The length is, in fact, 5, but the index of the letter E is 4. With all that in mind, what does the substring method do? The substring method cuts the string into a substring, which means a smaller version of that string. So let's just go through this example. Let's just throw it in the editor here, because it'll be easier to think about the examples than it will be to, explain everything nitpicky. Okay. So we print out the substring of the string from 0 to 3. So in the substring method, we include the first index and we go up to, but not including the second index. Okay. So we start at 0, which means that we're starting at the capital A, and then we include the P, and then we include the P, but we do not include the thing at index 3, which is the L. So we include indices 0, 1, 2, but not 3. Okay. One thing that's kind of a interesting way to remember this, or like kind of mental shortcut or something, is that the number of characters or the number of letters in the substring is the difference between these two numbers. So 3 minus 0 is 3, and there are 3 letters in this substring. 5 minus 3 is 2, and there are 2 letters in this substring. Okay. So we go, in the second example, we go from index 3, which is the L, and then we include the E, which gives us LE, and that is what we get for our second substring. So there's going to be lots of examples where, in multiple choice questions and stuff like that, where you have to mix and match, and there's going to be the substrings off by 1 letter or whatever, and you just have to be very careful. And what I would do on an AP multiple choice question, and we'll probably go through some examples on this channel, is I would number the indices like on my paper, and I would write it out carefully. But if you ever do forget, it is on the reference sheet. Okay, so that's substrings, except that there is a little bit more to substrings here. So you can do you can call the substring method on a string, but you can include just one parameter, and that'll go from there to the end. So I'm just going to do this here. That's my example. And so this will just have LE. This will go with index 3 and 4. Obviously, there is nothing in index 5, so 3 and 4, because it'll go basically these two things are the same. Okay, 3 and 3, 5. These this line here, this first version, is a shortcut for the second version. Okay, so there are situations where you might want to do that, and you'll get tested on that. But no, don't worry about it. When there's only one parameter, that means that we're going from that parameter to the end, and we do include that letter. Okay, perfect. So that's substrings. Index of. So index of returns a number, which is the first occurrence of the letter in the string. So we'll go through a couple examples here, but let's take this code and let's get our indents right. And then if a letter does not occur in the string, the returned value will be -1. So let's see. So we get 3 and then we get -1 as promised. So let's see, A is at index 0, P is at index 1, P is at index 2, and L is at index 3. Awesome. Now what about this? What if we just have the P here? Are we going to get a 1 or a 2? And I would bet $1 million that we would get a 1. And I said that before the answer came out. So you owe me $1 million. Yeah, so you're going to return, and then if we're printing out here, you're going to get the index of the first occurrence of the substring. You can also, for what it's worth, you can do the index of like actual longer strings, and that works as well. So you can do that. Okay, cool. Equals. Okay, so equals is what you think it is. It means, are these two strings equal? And when we say equal, we mean, are all of the characters, are all of the letters the exact same in all the exact same positions, including capitalization. So if we have my string is apple, this should be true because capital A apple is the same as capital A apple, but lowercase a apple is not the same as capital apple. And if this is grapes, then that's also going to be false. And also, if we just like include an extra space at the end, that's also false. Okay, so that's equals. All right, so comparison, this is kind of interesting. This is about, you'll get into this maybe at some point if you deal with like, if you have a bunch of words and you want to sort them in order, like in dictionary order, you would want to know which one is like bigger than the other one in dictionary order. So let's just run the code and see what it does. Okay, so we've got our apple again, and we're going to compare it to aardvark, and aardvark would come before apple in the alphabet. Xylophone would come after apple in the alphabet, and the word apple is the word apple, so we should get 0. Okay, so let's see. So we get 15, -1, and 0. So the number that is returned doesn't actually matter. So the fact that printed 15 is actually wild to me. I thought it was going to just print a 1, but Java is allowed to return any positive number when the string is bigger than the thing you're comparing to it. And it's allowed to return any negative number when the string is smaller than the thing you're comparing to it. And it should return 0 if they're the same. Okay, so that's compared to, you might get a question here or there on this, but yeah, that's the thing to remember. So getting the order in the right way, like which one's bigger, is annoying. And this is a situation where maybe you don't memorize this. Maybe you go and you can look on the reference sheet if there is actually a question on this on the exam. Okay, so last but not least is the split method. The split method is something we will get to later. So it is one of the methods on the sheet, so I did want to include it in the video just so for completeness. And we have the definition, but we will deal with that in a later video. And that video is actually already published on YouTube. It's the one about reading files, but we're not going to deal with that right now because it's kind of a more advanced topic. So for now, these are the methods that we care about, and we went through some examples, and appreciate the time. Thanks for watching.